All righty. Hello, I am Christine Diamond, your business consultant with High Risk Consulting, helping you to live in your zone of genius. And that is the area where you are passionate, you can get paid for it, and you are alive in the flow, doing what you love. We set up systems and processes so you can do more of what you love, less of what you don't, and grow from there. So today on our business spotlight, we have Emily South. I'm super excited to talk about authentic living. And we also were able to work together briefly getting started in this transformative business that she has. And so we're going to talk about authentic living and the way that you can grow the behind the scenes of your business to support what your message is. So I would love for you, Emily, to introduce yourself, what your business is, and the message overall that you want to share with the world.
Can you hear me okay? I plugged in my mic and it's not working.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay. Don't know why this is not working. It's supposed to light up, but so my name is Emily South. I'm based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. I am the CEO and founder of a company called True Voice, based out of Salt Lake. What else did you want me to say?
Yeah, just the overall message that you'd like the world to know. That's your passion. That's your zone of genius, why you're in business.
Absolutely. So if any of you want to go to my website is findyourtruevoice.com. That website I created, the domain actually was inspired years ago. The core of my message and what it is I like to call myself a queer transformational coach because I am queer, part of the LGBT community, and part of my coming into focus, understanding my purpose as a person comes from my personal lived experience as a coach. I have also been a corporate trainer. I'm very good at public speaking. Really, in today's fast-paced digital world with infinite distractions, it's so important to create space to can reconnect and recharge, not just with each other, but with ourselves. And as we prioritize our well-being, we create time, space, and energy to heal, learn, and expand. And in turn, that helps us do a better job when we interact with each other.
Yeah.
I'm about authenticity, and I have acronyms. I'm almost a certified coach because I'm working on 5 different certifications: neuro and linguistic programming, mindset, EFT, hypnosis, and of course subconscious programming, because when we don't like something in our life, that's probably coming from the subconscious. I can dive deeper later, but there's a lot of interesting things that I've learned that I want to share with all of my clients.
And I really do like that what you said is creating space. And I know that that is your acronym and your message. And so how did you first start creating space for yourself to recognize that you wanted to live more authentically as you?
Well, I'll be brave here and say I'm a transgender woman. I was assigned the wrong gender box when I was born. So let's start there. And I also shared an identity growing up. I'm a twin. So for those of you who are listening or watching this, it's a different experience when you are a twin because you share an identity. I talked to my chiropractor. He's a twin as well. And it's a similar path. So for me, coming up, it was just trying to understand, who am I separate from this other person? And on top of that, I had so many layers. I was also raised LDS conservative Mormon. So I've got all those rules and structure that they put on top of me. On top of that, I also was trying to figure out, who hell am I, if I can cuss, who am I with my gender? And I felt trapped in this box because I was given the same gender as my twin. And when you're sharing identity, it's really hard to distinguish that. And so my journey of authenticity started when I was in junior high, when I rebelled and I was like, I don't want to be with him, no friends. And so as an adult, it's just been kind of like been a crescendo of authenticity in my life. Bit by bit, I'm giving myself more permission. And really, that's what this is all about. It's a journey. It's not necessarily going to happen overnight. When it came to being married, I got married, had 4 kids. 11 and a half years later, I realized I was in a toxic relationship. I couldn't be who I wanted to be. And I was getting glimpses of my true identity a lot throughout my whole life, all peppered. And so when I got divorced, and a diagnosis came from that from a therapist, I had language and words and meaning to be able to put, to express and understand this internal battle that I had feeling inside myself. And because I gave space to learn and understand that conflict, it created a deeper sense of, and a lot of word that I know this is thrown out a lot, but self-love is a really important part of an authentic journey. If you can't create space to love yourself without judgment, without scrutiny, then you're not going to get very far. And so for me, I have 3 words that my website, I have on my website that I focus my business on. I focus on identity or self-concept. They're all start with S. Space, which is about the energy and how you show up in the spaces that you're in with the energy you have. And then, of course, story. We all have stories in our lives, and some have been given to us, some we co-created with other people and the universe. But if we're not mindful of that, 95 to 99% of your conscious actions on a daily basis automatic, subconscious. It's programming, just like any computer that you are using. I was unaware of that programming, but as I've gone through this journey of authenticity, I've become more and more aware of that programming. And when you make the unconscious conscious, as Carl Jung says, you take back the power. His quote is, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. And so if we don't make that awareness, and mindfulness is a huge part of the authenticity journey that I teach my clients. And yes, there's the yogis in the world, but really it's important about creating space for yourself. And so, yeah, it was a journey. It wasn't overnight. And there's still new things that I find as I do shadow work, because that's important about this too. It's not just about the light, what we want. It's also what we don't want, because that subconsciously could be reinforced if we're not wanting and we feel that resistance.
Yeah, I think that is so powerful to have recognized that your journey to authenticity is ongoing. But I do like what you said about a crescendo. Like even more and more and more and more yourself. So there are layers that you had to come through and break past, and then you will continuously do that. And then just be bolder and more brightly yourself. And now with that message behind you, who are you wanting to serve? What kind of people are you hoping to help? Or what is it that you're hoping to evoke within people to help them on this journey to authenticity?
That's a good question. Really, it comes down to finding what I call your true voice. That's the name of my company. That's intentional. When I was a twin growing up, I couldn't find my own voice because my dead name, I'm not going to say that, but I was paired with someone else. And a lot of people who are single, who are not twins, don't get this because yes, they have their own identity, but a lot of us, and this isn't a twin thing, but I think it's a human thing. We have so many forces around us, the culture, society, the collective consciousness, which is like everybody, individuals, beliefs, their way they operate, and how that surfaces and bubbles up to could be like lead to wars. It could lead to all kinds of crazy stuff. And that's the collective consciousness, because every little indiscretion where we're not in alignment with our truer self or who we are meant to be is like giving away bits of our power and our identity. And if you do that long enough, you wake up in the middle age and you're like, who the hell am I? And that's what I did when I was 39. When I came out, I was like, why am I having depression? Why am I suicidal? And you know, a lot of this, when people are suicidal, it's a quiet thing. It's internal. And so, and I bring this up not to trigger anybody who's watching or listening to this, but just to be aware that we all have our own darkness. And if we resist that darkness, I mentioned that earlier, we're actually reinforcing that subconscious belief. But if you stop running away from yourself and actually come home to yourself and welcome all those parts, then it takes the power away from them. There's a Native American story about two wolves. And if you haven't watched, look it up. But it's like the kid's question to the elder was like, well, which wood do I feed? And he's like, it depends on what you want. And then he said, well, okay, well, and if you acknowledge both the dark and the light, then it's harmony. It's integration. But if it's not, then it's conflict. And that's what I felt so much in my life. And I want my clients to not get out of the conflict, get out of the healing loop, because we're not broken. You're whole and complete
Yeah.
when you start, and move on to like manifesting what you want. There's a lot of power in coming home to yourself, because then that creates, again, this space, one of my favorite words, because without that space, and you can quote me on this, our capacity to create space for other people is proportional to our ability to and capacity to create space for ourselves. And if we don't understand that relationship, we'll go through our life half asleep.
Yeah. And this is something that's really important, is because a lot of times people will say, um, here's me in this category. Here's me in this one and this one, right? So we put these little compartmental boxes, but ultimately, how you show up in your work is also how you show up in your personal relationships, is also how you show up in your quiet time by yourself,
Absolutely.
and so we talk sometimes about work-life balance.
Yes.
And it's like, why is work one thing and then the rest of life is in all the category? It's like work
Mhm.
is one category, and so are the intertwined relationships that overlap and all that. So it's really important to be authentic in all the spaces where you show up.
Mm.
How does having this journey of authenticity show up for you in work? And how would you like your clients to be able to manifest what they want within their work and their business because they're living in an authentic space?
That's a really good question. Honestly, it's an individual experience when I work with my clients. I'm not gonna throw someone into the same boat as everyone else. I do feel like your story is unique just as much as it is with anyone else. I don't understand why people can't honor and respect the sovereignty that every person has out there.
Mm,
Listening to watching this, you are a sovereign, independent, divine expression of the universe or God, whatever you want, consciousness. And if you can't honor and respect that for yourself, then no one's going to respect you back.
yeah,
People really are mirrors to how your internal reality is. And so, like with authenticity, and it's not just authenticity, there's a lot of things that we have programmed that we're unaware of that are running in the background. Your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, your limiting beliefs, your limiting decisions, all those different things. I help my clients release those so that they can actually create the space so that when you have let those go, then you have space. It's like when they say do your spring cleaning and stuff and you clean
mm,
things up. It's like all of a sudden you feel this sense of breath or a spaciousness or there's openness because you let go of what was holding you back. It's funny, and I know sounds like another quote, but the thing that you're avoiding in your life is really the thing that could hold you, can free you and liberate you, because that was the case with my story.
yeah. And that actually, I'm going to add upon this, is it is very important for people to recognize their own journey.
Mhm.
And that even when you're working with clients, and how does living in your authentic life actually show up in your work, is going to be different for each person. Um, I would like to say that when you let go of those limiting beliefs and you then are super clear on your work and your business goals and what you want out of it,
Mhm.
there's so much less resistance because
Yes.
you're in alignment. You are in alignment. And people talk about surrender and they talk about all these things. And I go, what does that even mean? It really is just if you love yourself, even to a degree, right? We're not all perfect. There's still judgments and ego and all that. But if you are intentionally saying, I want to live as me everywhere I go,
Yep.
then when you're doing your creative work for the world, your service, work and business are our service. It is our service and our contribution that then we get compensated for.
Yes.
So if we let go of those limits, like you were saying, then it's like, okay, I have energetic space to show up here
Yes.
and do the work.
Yes, you've
Oh.
got it. Yes, like all of those programs that are running on in the background in our subconscious, if we're unaware of those, like you probably heard people say when it's not physical exertion, it's also mental exertion. Everything is energy in the universe. We are energy. Everyone around us is universe is energy, but we're expending energy all the time with thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Our body and nervous system are trying to regulate to keep this homeostasis. But if we're not aware of those programs running on the background, like that's one of the things I noticed when I started this journey. I had more energy. I had more health. I actually felt younger as I started letting go of these things because those programs aren't no longer taking the energy away. I have more available. Your capacity grows like a battery when you actually are not running those programs. It's like when I say to my kids, tell the truth. You'll never have to remember anything. But when you're lying to yourself, which is partly these limiting beliefs, if you don't know these, you're lying to yourself, trying to convince yourself, and that's running in the background, and it's spending energy. And it's also taking up space, just like the things we have in our life, material. It takes up space. It requires maintenance, cleaning, all that kind of stuff. It's energy. But if you clean it up, like you did with the business organizer with me, then I was like, oh, this is my mission. This is what I'm doing. This is what my business is about. This is my ideal client. Then like it gets clear and there's space there because you know what, you have clarity. I'd like to say, an analogy that authenticity and mindfulness and the journey that I teach my clients for finding their true voice, it just creates space and clarity. And when you have those, that really helps. And you realize that you find the magic that is yours. I have an acronym for everybody, and I know that we're coming to the end of our time. There's an acronym I want you this is my gift to you today, to understand this. And I would love to dive deeper with this as a coach with you if you are interested in this. The acronym is MAGIC. And I have different forms of magic that I practice. I am also witchy in that way. But everything they call it magic. Spelling is magic, like words are magic. And everything you speak is instructions to your subconscious. So just be aware of that, folks. Now, as I share this magic acronym, just be aware that this is something to help you remember how to be authentic. First, mindfulness. Mindfulness matters. That's the M in magic. What do I mean by mindfulness? That means be aware of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs as you navigate the day. And when you see or you notice yourself having a negative thought, you're like, oh, you know what? That's just old programming. That's leftovers. We're moving on to something different. And that mindfulness can really help you shift things, even just that one piece of the acronym. The next one is A. A is for accepting and loving all your facets and parts, light and the shadow. The stronger the light becomes, the stronger the shadow comes. So you have to acknowledge the shadow also. G is for gratitude. Gratitude every day. There's so many research around that. Gratitude helps to open things up. It helps you be more creative. It is good for better sleep, all of that. I is for intuition. Follow it all the time. Whatever you feel like, even if your logical mind's like, I don't know if we can do this, like, no, just ignore that, follow it. And then C is for curiosity. Stay curious and ask questions. I say that to my kids all the time as a mom. But ask deeper questions, not surface level. There's a lot of surface level going on out there. So magic, again, that's mindfulness, accepting, gratitude, intuition, and curiosity. That's your magic bullet for authenticity. And working with a coach like myself, I can help you go to the finish line.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so you're to recap what our conversation was, we're saying, okay, if you want to live in an authentic life, first create space for yourself
Mhm.
to allow for that exploration and going through the layers and uncovering this as an ongoing journey
Yes.
to becoming more and brighter yourself. Then,
Yes.
as you're more in your authentic journey, how you show up in different arenas of your life is really bringing in your creativity into the world. So when we're talking about work-life balance, no, instead we're saying work is one way in which you are serving and you're showing your contribution to the world. And then you get to live in magic. You get to bring magic into your
Yes,
day.
your own unique brand of magic.
Your own
Exactly.
branded magic to shine that light, the sparkle. That's why I like diamond and sparkle.
Yes. It's a great
Yeah.
name.
Um, but yes, I love all of this. And something that I was just thinking of as we were having this conversation is when someone who is in my audience or group or anything is dealing with limiting blocks
Mm.
that are in the way of us doing the pragmatic, logical systems, processes work, go turn to Emily. Go in and just have a session with her and just say, hey, this is what I'm facing. I don't know why I can't get this project done. And then come back and we'll get it done. We'll execute. So
Yes.
that is a really good tag team idea is that, business coaches, business consultants, different people, life coaches, we all have different strengths to offer. And if you turn to multiple people to then go about your mission, you'll be able to have a community that's all supporting you. And that's really the space that I want to create. When you're talking about space, you first have to start with yourself, and then you can start branching out and creating community where you go. So
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for that shout out. Thank you. And the G, if I can go back to the magic on the G, the gratitude is not just gratitude for yourself.
mm,
Gratitude is for the people that are showing up in your life on a daily basis. It could be a smile at a grocery store. It could be something just as simple as someone opened the door for you. But you realize moment by moment more that people are actually showing up for you. And the interesting thing about that with magic, the more aware you are, the more the universe, God, whatever consciousness you believe in, is saying, oh, they actually are mindful. They're trying to be more conscious. And they'll reward you for that because you are creating this space. And it's kind of counterintuitive, but when you create space for yourself, you have more to offer other people.
yeah.
I guess this is not just personal, but it's also like corporate is now taking note of mindfulness and how important this is and creating spaces where people like attrition in companies goes lower because people feel safe. They feel
Mm,
seen, heard, and felt. That's actually the tagline for my company, to be seen, heard, and felt. But you have to start with yourself first and expand out.
yes. That is so good. Well, I'm glad we had this conversation. It was lovely. And I believe you mentioned earlier in the conversation the website. Would you say that again so people can connect with you?
Absolutely. Findyourtruevoice.com, just like it sounds, FINDTRUEVOICE.com. If you want to reach out to me directly, I'm Emily at findyourtruevoice.com. I do offer free breakthrough to success sessions, a 15 to 30-minute session for every new client. So if you want to take me up on that offer, I have open spots and
That's
yeah,
awesome.
willing to negotiate if you want for a testimonial while I'm starting my business.
Cool. That's great. That is so fun. I'm gonna do that one of those.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I really love spotlighting businesses because I want business owners to truly be leaders in our community. And so that's what the Harvest Consulting Network is all about. So if you also want to connect with people like Emily, others in our group, it is the Harvest Consulting Network on Facebook. And we're all just about serving each other and creating community. So that is why we end with here we grow. So together, we can say that. We can say, here we grow. 1, 2, 3, and here we grow. Okay, I hope you have a great day. We'll see you.
Thank you, Christine. Thanks for
Bye.
having me.